I think we're in an unparalleled place today with what the state of media is and where the world is going in terms of media, culture, content, and consumption. And so, over the next 6-7 minutes, I'm going to make 5 predictions about the future of media. Prediction one is that I think we're going to very quickly reach a point where we have medical, clinical interventions. I'm talking doctors, nurses, professionals. We already have rehab centers, but I'm talking medical diagnosis and the requirement of major medical intervention because of how debilitated people get with regard to addiction to video consumption. I think we've reached a point where if you're born after 2008, 2009, you've been raised in a world where a ridiculously large amount of video consumption on a daily basis has been normalized to the point where we're perpetually and constantly bombarded with hours and hours of context-switched video every day. If you go back 20 years, people would still consume video, except it was largely in the form of centralized television, and that came with its natural limitations. You couldn't carry a TV with you on the tube. You couldn't carry, a massive monitor with you when you're going to take a shit work. And so I think the level at which the number of human hours today go towards consumption of video is unparalleled, and we're all becoming video junkies, zombies. And the only way out is for there to be, I think, medical, clinical interventions for this. And I think people are going to make a lot of money getting people who are fully fucked with video addictions to quit. Prediction two is that the most profitable media of the next decade is going to be AI slop. And I'm not saying that the most impactful media, the most powerful content, or things that really shape pop culture are going to be AI slop. But the most profitable media is going to be all entirely and fully end-to-end AI generated with very little human intervention. And there's already monetized examples of this. On Hotstar, there's a live action series which is called Mahabharata, the unforgettable epic, or something along those lines. It's a show that's tens or hundreds of episodes, and it's entirely end-to-end generative AI. Similarly, you have Pocket FM, which I think is the world's largest audio platform. And that in the past, the CEO was talking about this in the past year, they have made their catalog of podcasts and stories and audiobooks, etc., go like 100x because they now just massively mass produce AI generated like audiobooks and audio content. And the reason this is almost unfathomably effective is that you can, because your cost of production starts to approach near zero, you're just paying for electricity, you can hyper produce very niche, ultra individual specifically marketed content over and over to hijack based exactly on what people are interested in. And more than anything, when the cost of production can be brought down not just by 10, 20, 30, 40%, but can come down to 1/100th of what it used to be, the most profitable media is going to be AI slop. The interesting thing there is, and we'll touch on this in prediction 3, but it's going to be media that's deployed very effectively. It's going to be about how you can make AI produced content without feeling like AI at all. Prediction 3 is that AI is going to be everywhere and AI is going to be nowhere. I think very quickly, and maybe we're already there, we're going to reach a point where it's going to be cringe, or it's going to be disgusting to mention or build a brand or try to market media or market anything based on the claim that it's AI first, AI end to end, AI led, AI generated, people have very quickly adjusted to how much slop AI can produce, and it's very quickly moved to something that signals low value, low effort, low trust. And so my prediction is that it's going to be very cringe and very hard to market anything that's generated entirely using AI. But AI is going to be there everywhere. I think every single frame of every movie you see 3 or 4 years from now is going to have some AI workflow that contributed to the making of that frame, for sure. And I think that's just going to be driven by economics. I think in media, because it's so passion driven, there's always a fight and crisis for money and budget. Even if you're making a $300 million Mission Impossible movie, even there's always a fight for budget to meet ambition. And when you have to do something as simple as, I don't know, have a shot of a stone being thrown at a window and a window breaking, ordinarily you actually have to throw the stone, break the window. That requires physical equipment, it requires a crew, it requires some element of coordination, safety, etc. When you can bring that cost down to zero for, something that lasts for a second or half a second, and just have a contextually well done rendered AI shot of a stone breaking that glass, it makes sense to embed it. And so I think every frame of every meaningful piece of media and content we consume will have massive interactions with AI workflows and processes across all of them. The only difference is nobody will talk about it. It's going to very quietly happen. And institutions, organizations, studios, creators, people that adapt will survive, because there is going to be a fundamental shift with the economics of this. Look at what Seed Dance has done over the past couple of weeks, where it looks like the fundamental model on which animated movies could be produced and then marketed, distributed, is now completely broken. I'm sure it's anyone's wild fucking guess on what an animated movie will look like in terms of production end to end 6 months from now. Prediction is a risky one. It's one I'm not fully convinced on, but it's one I could see playing out. I think we see a revival of the Buzzfeed model. Between 2013-14 to 2020, there was this wave of new age media institutions, like Buzzfeed and what Smosh tried to do later, and with TVF, etc., where it was these almost corporate institutions trying to dish out content on platforms like YouTube, Instagram, and they were fully structured entities and corporations with, HR and workflows, and they would pick and bet on talent and then massively churn out media and content on the internet, because that's where attention was going. Most of these institutions have failed either monetarily or culturally, in that they've either gone bust or lost any meaningful cultural relevance. I think we might see that change. I think we'll see new attempts at this. And the way it'll work out is, I think the ability to monetize of online distribution, organic distribution through video, has shot through the roof in the past 3-4 years. And that's why I'm making this video right now. I think there's been a fundamental change where the human experience is now, so much of it is time spent on video online, that has become one of the primary interfaces for society. And that means we're going to see monetization on it only increase, which means we will see a revival of companies and corporations dedicated to doing it. I think they won't repeat mistakes of the past. I think these are going to be leaner entities. I think they'll know that their cultural relevance may only last for a 3 to 5 year window. And I think it should be well recognized that for companies like Buzzfeed, the real risk is that you can be broken by the talent you make, which is that you give a platform talent and then talent gets big, talent fucks off, does their own thing. I think that can be combated by equity ownership for people that have. I think it's going to be like what the Try guys do today, which is the people on camera own and run the operation, and they run lean small teams and actually make sizable chunks of money. Prediction 5 is that everyone picks up a camera and a mic. I think we're definitely at the point where online video is 50 years from now or 100 years from now, they're probably going to look back at 2020 and it's going to be a milestone here for human beings, not because of COVID, but because that really marked the point where video consumption and interaction to other human beings through video became a cemented part of the human experience. And so, given that all of it is so low in cost, so easy to access, and has so much potential upside, I think there still is massive asymmetric opportunity in anybody doing this. And so the wave of people picking it up and just doing it every day, like it's going to the gym or like it's brushing their teeth or cooking dinner, is not going to go away. It's going to rise and rise and rise until this becomes a weird default of human expression. And I think that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think it's interesting. And so those are my 5 predictions on what the future of media is. Thanks.